top 10 there in 10th. Time of 18:25 for Mission Viejo. Liliana Perez in 22nd. Olivia Heiss in 31st. Alexandra Balo in 47th. Caitlin Wynn in 50th. So we'll see those scores be adjusted, as we said. Keep an eye on that. I think we can say that Point Loma is going to take the victory. It will be a higher score than that, certainly. We'll get that all retallied. But no time to rest as we move immediately now to our next race here. This will be the boys individual sweepstakes race and our final race of day number. We're at the 77th running of this Mount SAC Cross Country Invitational here in Walnut, California. Mount San Antonio College playing host, as always. I'm Trevor Fulkerson. You're watching live here on runnerspace. And so much great cross-country action live on runnerspace.com. If you're not a subscriber, we don't even have time for a commercial. This will be my commercial. Make sure you're signed up if you're not already. So much great action throughout the cross-country season, from coast to coast, everywhere in between, into the postseason, and, of course, into the track season as well. Boy, it just feels like it never stops. It seems like it's so far away, then all of a sudden you look up, it's cross country, it's the postseason, it's the early season indoor track meets, and then right into the indoor season. So it really is a year-round sport. One of the things I'm always so impressed with these athletes is the ability to time out the year. Credit to the coaches as well, of course, but training hard. You have your breaks, you have your off time, your easy miles, I suppose, but coaches really have to pay attention, especially in this day and age where everything is so hyper-focused. I'm still a big fan, of athletes getting a chance, especially at the high school level, before specializing to do different sports. And, there's some athletes here that are just running cross-country. They're getting in shape. They're maybe perhaps in their first competitive environment or team sports, and cross-country such a true team sport, even more so than track and field, or at least it's a little more apparent, let's put it that way. But the team battle we saw from the team sweepstakes side, and again, we give credit to the team winners as well on the individual side. But as I said, this is the final sweepstakes race here, Division 3, 4, and 5 on day number 1. We'll be back for Division 1 and 2 races tomorrow morning. And nothing to choose between our leaders here early on. So an even bigger pack we saw on the girls' side of things. We were, maybe 6 or 7 athletes out in front with at least a little bit of separation, but I'm not calling this one being strung out just yet. 2, 4, 6. I mean, really, there's no separation here. And as we come through, those valley loops will come up on our 1 mile marker, of course, to give us an idea of where things are at. But for this final sweepstakes race of day number 1, I always like to give a little bit of perspective. And from last year's championship, or sweepstakes race, I should say, for the D3, 4, and 5 on the individual side of things, it was Zion Ortiz of Burroughs who took victory in 15:03. Very, very respectable time on this challenging course. Oliver Clippinger Zimmerman was right behind for Thousand Oaks in 15:10, with Burroughs taking the overall team title here, just ahead of Sage Creek and Moore Park. Just 5 points separated those two teams, Burroughs and Sage Creek, 102 to 107. So past is not always prologue, certainly, but it gives us a little bit more perspective. And the other thing is, if you're used to historically the course where we had Poop Out Hill and a number of similarities to this course, certainly, but differences as well. So we've made some adjustments the last couple of years. You know, you might not be quite as familiar with the times on this course. So we're still getting to know what, you know, a 15:03 or a 15:10 means on this course. Certainly something sub 15, very, very impressive. I mentioned last year's overall fastest, which means, of course, the course record. This is a great view of those switchbacks. But Trey Caldwell of De La Salle last year ran 14:46, and so that remains for now the course record. Good run from Ollie O'Connor earlier to go sub 14:50 as well. But look at those switchbacks, back and forth and on the uphill, as our leaders still just within a couple seconds of each other. Kiefer Wilcox, Tahoe Truckee, 4:47, but he is right there with Maury Young of Ocean View, Andres Lomeli of Kimball, Darren Spragno of Santa Margarita, Jonah Vasquez of Cathedral, Lucas Welty of Healdsburg, Orrin Hill of Thousand Oaks, Cole Johnson of South Torrance. 8 guys under 450 on that first full mile as they are on the downhill side now of that first challenging hill. 8 guys under 450, 4:47 for Kiefer Wilcox to lead the way. You love hills, Coach says. I like hearing that that encouragement. Not sure if it helps in the moment, but it is a good exhortation from Coach there. Working hard, you can see, again, that's just the challenge of this first hill, really testing the mettle of these competitors, knowing they still have Reservoir Hill to go. But every cross-country course has its own unique quirks and challenges, even you know, for the production side of things. Shout out to our runnerspace team, does such a great job with all these different camera angles, and you know, it's not as straightforward as we mentioned, as a lot of times we'll get the gator out in front, get that view and some drone shots, but these set points are great views, and this is what I was going to allude to, is that we get a little bit of mystery, and then coming out down this hill where our leaders have emerged over multiple races already this afternoon. Kimball and Truckee, as Kiefer Wilcox doing battle here with Andres Lomeli. And those two have separated themselves from the pack. Orrin Hill of Thousand Oaks still in the mix, and a number of athletes chasing him, but it is those two, Kiefer Wilcox and Andres Lomeli, who have separated themselves from the rest of the field. Kiefer Wilcox, first time contesting this Mount SAC course, and raced for Kiefer Wilcox, representing the Wolverines of Truckee. Andres Lomeli of Kimball, Tracy, California. Both of them look to have a lot of energy left, let's say, coming down that hill, knowing they're going to be in a battle the rest of the way. We saw it on the girls' side with Patterson opening up really just in the final, 600-700 meters or so. Could we see something similar here, going all the way to the line perhaps, between Kiefer Wilcox and Andres Lomeli? Lomeli has a 14:19 personal best over miles that came at Woodbridge. He finished 27th there in that sweepstakes race. Wilcox was in that race as well, finishing 49th in 14:35. And his season's best, I should say, over the 3-mile distance. He also ran a PR 15:04 at the Clovis Invite, where he finished 4th in that Friday championship. He's won all of his other 5K races there. Some of the local some of the local races, a Nevada race as well. Nevada Union Cross Country invite earlier in the season did Wilcox. So pretty evenly matched, it seems, between our leaders. But those two running step for step. You see Orrin Hill there still within striking distance as they get ready to climb up Reservoir in just a little bit. 10:02, 5:14 on that second mile for both Wilcox and Lomeli. 5:19 for Orrin Hill. Wonder if that name will help him on the ascent here for the final time on this Mount SAC cross-country course. They were Wilcox and Lomeli both right at 4:47 through that first mile. And again, coming through 5:14. So we've seen that a number of times, just under 30 seconds for these athletes, but right about a 30-second split from mile 1 to mile 2. A difference, I should say, between those two splits as our leaders get ready to cruise down that downhill. And this is a real opportunity for either of these athletes to push hard. But look at Truckee, Tahoe Truckee Wilcox making his move to come right on back there in the red. I'm still not counting Orrin Hill out of it there for Thousand Oaks. Those three, though, well clear of the rest of the field. That 2-mile split, it was about 20 seconds back from the leaders to this chase pack. From Orrin Hill there in third, it was about 13 or 14 seconds. So a significant gap back to the rest of the field here. But Wilcox and Lomeli for Tahoe Truckee and Kimball, respectively.
St. John Bosco with a very solid routine. Lomeli, leader on the airstrip.
So you see these athletes working hard, and once again, we'll get a view here shortly of our leaders, as now it is all Andres Lomeli of Kimball for the Jaguars of Kimball out of Tracy, California. As I said, really, really good run for him at the Woodbridge Sweepstakes race. You can see Wilcox still running strong, but just not enough to match this kick here. There's Orrin Hill in the green of Thousand Oaks. But for Lomeli, coming off a good couple of runs, didn't have his best race at the Clovis Invite, if we're being honest, earlier this month. As I said, Woodbridge was a good run for him, 14:19 over the 3-mile distance. He has this one wide open now. And the rest of the race on the track should be a formality for this young man, Andres Lomeli, as he will enter Hilmer Lodge Stadium here at Mount SAC, running through the smoke. And the fanfare is well deserved for Lomeli. It was a Foot Locker West Regional qualifier a year ago. And a 16:04.5K PR there at the time. Has improved on that significantly. Ran 14:38. Not a PR there at Foot Locker, my apologies, but has run a personal best this year over that 5K distance. 14:38 he ran, in addition to that 14:19 at the Woodbridge in 3 miles. So add this to the list. The number of wins already under the belt of Andres Lomeli this season. He will take one more. And it is going to be quick. Can he get under 15 minutes here? As I said early on this course, a very, very good, really solid result. If you can dip under 15 minutes, and he will do just that. Andres Lomeli takes victory 14:57 as he gets his medal and bell. Kiefer Wilcox coming through 15:10 and change for the Tahoe Truckee athlete. Boy, he saw him working hard on those hills, but it was just not enough. But a big smile on the face there, Kiefer Wilcox. A very, very solid effort from that young man. Orrin Hill, credit to him. It can be tough to run in that no man's land, and he did it for a long, long time. Wasn't peeking over the shoulder, just had his eyes ahead. But this sprint finish coming up now between Maury Young and Cole Johnson. It's going to be Maury Young over South Torrance's Cole Johnson. That's Darren Spragno of Santa Margarita coming through. A couple of Burroughs athletes as well. Silas Aber and Tristan Sievers in 8th and 9th. And Lucas Welty of Healdsburg rounding out the top 10. So we will get our team scores starting to be tallied here. Remember, Burroughs took victory last year by just 5 points over Sage Creek. On the team side of things, this is the individual focus, certainly the individual sweepstakes race. But there is still pride in taking the team victory. St. John Bosco Kimball now. Of course, with some low points there from their top finisher, Andres Lomeli, giving him a single point on the board. That goes a long way, but you still have to have good follow-up. Santa Margarita. And it does look like Santa Margarita has put their first... Well, this will be close, I think, between Bosco and Santa Margarita. So watch those scores here now. We don't have another race to look to, so nothing to look at except for those team scores and the rest of the finishers coming through here. Sprint finishing, so much fun on the track. I know I said it once or twice. I'll say it again. So look at that gap between those two. St. John Bosco. Edward Medina was their top finisher, 11th. Behind him, it was Jay Lopez and Aaron Garcia in 16th and 17th. Nicholas Medina in 27th, and Joseph Toledo down there in 36th. Will that be enough? I think it will be. Santa Margarita had some really good grouping. And I mean really good grouping. They were led by Darren Spragno there in 6th. And behind him was Matthew Ruiz, Patrick Stadel, Leo Cummins, and Miles Barron. They were all running together. They were in 31st, 32nd, 33rd, and 34th. I think they had been a couple of spots ahead. This is what I mentioned earlier on in maybe some of the pre-show or early races, where if you've got a group of 4, that's awesome. It's even more awesome if you can pass 1 or 2 runners, because it just multiplies those points and just shaves off so many big points. But credit to Santa Margarita for some great grouping there, but I think St. John Bosco is just going to get this one done. Got them at 73 as of now. Well, as we continue to tally and see our final finishers here, we'll take a peek towards tomorrow's schedule. Remember, this was the final race of this afternoon, began early this morning. And shout out to all of the organizers, officials, and everybody here at Mount SAC putting on a great meet. One of, if not the largest high school cross-country meet in the nation. Something like 14,000 participants this year. That is just absolutely insane and takes such incredible planning and logistics to execute that over the course of 2 days. It just means so much from every level, the freshman, sophomore levels, the junior varsity, getting a chance to run here. Is really just, well, it's so notable for these athletes. Like I said, it's true in the spring on the track. And it's true in the fall as well. You always have Mount SAC circled on the calendar. This is a big, big meet for these local and regional teams. Started earlier today, 10 a.m., ran all the way through our race here that began just a little while ago, 5:50 local time, depending on where you're watching from, of course. Tomorrow's action will begin at 7:15 a.m. local Pacific time here. And we will have these sweepstake races. I'll be back to join you, set to begin with the Division 1 and 2 boys at 8:41 local time, so adjust accordingly for your local time zone. But we'll run right on through. We'll start with the individual sweepstakes tomorrow on the boys, then the girls, and then move to those team races. So once again, 4 races total will be Divisions 1 and 2. Some of those really competitive teams, really competitive individuals will come out to play here on these challenging course. We've already seen and gotten to know. This is a great way to get a gauge on, even if you're looking forward to a particular race tomorrow, it's so fun to watch here and see what does this course look like, where are the moves being made, what do those battles look like. So we'll get to see all that and more tomorrow. Again, 7:15 a.m. local time to begin things. It'll be another long day overall. Get a chance to see your athletes, Ren, whoever you're rooting for, getting some airtime here on runnerspace. And the sweepstakes races will begin at 8:41 a.m. local time.